Hi everyone, it's Ruby G.
And I'm Jov.
Welcome to Truth and Neurons.
There's a certain silence that follows tragedy. Not the sacred kind that honours the dead, but the oppressive kind that swallows questions. When institutions seal documents, when prosecutors talk but defenders cannot, when journalists echo press releases instead of demanding answers, a vacuum forms. And into that vacuum rushes speculation, rumour and grief. Psychology, defence mechanisms protect the self from unbearable truths. Institutions do the same. When a police department mishandles evidence, or a prosecutor overreaches, they rarely confess. Instead, they minimise, rationalise, or project.
Well, I'd prefer not to say that right now because I don't want there to be generally publicly known what was right and wrong from our perspective. I don't think it would have changed the ultimate outcome. And our interest really is if we were going to be able to lock down a guaranteed result for the families, they really can't be trusted to tell the truth.
It's not always malicious. Often it's fear. Fear that admitting error would collapse faith in the system entirely. So they guard the system's reputation, not the truth.
Bill Thompson, Ashley Jennings, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Ordinary people expect justice to behave like a parent. Firm, fair and consistent. When it really acts like a corporation, calculating risk and image before honesty.
Damn it!
We experience what psychologists call moral injury. It's the same wound that whistleblowers, soldiers and therapists sometimes feel when institutions betray their core values. The result is anger that never finds resolution because the system that caused it refuses to acknowledge it. Humans crave closure. When an event is horrific and senseless, we can't rest until the narrative feels tidy. So the system offers a perfect villain, someone whose quirks, awkwardness or isolation can be weaponized into motive. Psychologically, this reveals collective anxiety. But for those who see deeper, who know about neurodiversity, mental health, or the quiet complexities of human behaviour, that tidy story feels hollow.
Hi, my name's Joff. I'm neurodiverse and that tidy story seems hollow, without a doubt.
Me too, I agree.
Neurodivergent individuals, like ourselves, are often studied as anomalies rather than understood as people. Sometimes a flat affect can be misread as coldness, social difficulty as deceit, routine-driven lives as obsession. In a courtroom or a vicious media cycle, those traits are easy to villainize. But anyone who works in psychology knows that difference is not danger. For those who keep digging, researchers, independent journalists, or the online community that spends sleepless nights analysing footage and affidavits, the work is costly. There's ridicule from mainstream voices, fatigue from endless redactions, and emotional burnout from empathising with every player in the tragedy. Yet this effort is an act of civic care.
Every unresolved case, every incomplete explanation leaves collective grief suspended in air. Psychologically, grief needs ritual, storytelling, sharing, acknowledgement. When institutions refuse dialogue, the internet becomes the new ritual space. That's why true crime communities aren't just voyeurs, they're citizens performing the mourning that officials won't. There's a balance to keep. We can acknowledge corruption and bias without replacing them with unverified certainty. Critical thinkers can live with ambiguity. We can say, we don't know yet, and still demand better evidence.
Justice isn't just a verdict. It's the ongoing relationship between people and systems. When that relationship breaks, it must be repaired with transparency, humility, and dialogue, not spin. And if institutions can't provide those things, communities will build their own spaces for truth-telling, podcasts, citizen research, grassroots advocacy. To anyone listening who feels exhausted, who's been called obsessed, conspiratorial, or too emotional, remember these are often the labels given to people who still care, who still give a shit. Indifference is easy. Questioning takes courage. Whether or not Brian Kohberger is guilty, the way this case was handled will be studied for years as a case study not only in criminal law, but in collective psychology.
That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers, bye.